4 episodes in, and we're pretty sure the end won't be aliens. It's the Watchers on the Couch. We are back for the Watchers on the Couch, Castle Rock, and we're about to talk about episode 4, The Box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? That's all I could think about when I saw that title.
Yeah, and it's a different kind of box, but it's slightly larger. It fits a whole person instead of just the head of...
That's what she said.
Okay. We'll go with that. Before we get into the episode, we had some stuff we need to get to first. Episode 3 listener comments.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of participation, which I'm
so
definitely
happy.
liking.
Yeah.
First of all, people loved the cat interruption board.
How can you not?
Yeah. We had a lot of comments on that. And Tim actually said it wouldn't be Watchers on the Couch without Podcats.
It wouldn't, because if you think about it, every location has... Well, no, Jimmy has a cat too, right?
It did.
Oh, that's not there anymore?
R.I.P.
It died?
It did.
Oh, no.
We won't get into the story behind it. It'll make this podcast sad right up top.
Because it's not already.
Yeah. So we will continue the cat interruption board. The count will continue through this episode. I'm sure everyone...
See if there's a clear leader after this one.
There might be.
They're all tied.
It's a dead heat right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes, and we'll continue to throw a post up on socials for that. As far as episode 3 goes, we had a few different people contribute talking about the episode. This was Molly's episode, to remind everyone. Al said Molly's episode felt like it could be a secondary plot, and he felt like they maybe dove a little bit too much, like centered around her a little too much. To which I responded, well, I feel like the scene with the kid at the end made up for it.
Yeah, and there's only so many episodes. Like you gotta put it in at some point.
There's 10 episodes. So if they're ever going to dive into Molly and really establish the character that she is, then...
I think they got to do it right away.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're never going to figure anything out.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do that with other characters or not moving forward, but we'll see, I guess. As of this recording, episode 5 premiered yesterday. We still have not watched it.
I know, it's killing me.
But I did see some responses of people on social media that were non-spoilers, so I'm happy about that. Thank you, people out there that are also watching this.
Shannon.
Yeah,
I saw
Shannon said,
Shannon's post, and I was like, thank you for not saying anything.
There will be a cliffhanger, though, apparently.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there kind of has been. So,
especially this episode.
Yeah. Dan said, and I quote, "The kid's penis will bring about the rub rapture." Obviously, that is a joke comment. We encourage said joke comments. It's better than nothing. I don't think that's true, though.
You never know.
That's a fact. I don't know that. But I would venture to say we're probably safe from a rub rapture. Also, Mike did contribute talking about episode 3, but we're going to save that for the next episode because we're going to have Mike on as a guest. So we might as well just save discussion with him about Molly's episode with him. Mm-hmm. He will be there with us in person at Mike D's Sound Room.
Also with a cat.
I don't know if the cat will be in the room with us, though, so we might be safe from interruptions.
I didn't hear that cat once. I would
She's
never
a pretty
have known.
quiet cat.
Yeah, had the cat been found and brought out.
She's not pushing things over. She's not making hacking sounds.
Eating right behind you. Is that what it is now? I fed them 2 hours ago, too, in preparation so they wouldn't be munching.
I mean, that's definitely on Mike, though, so we're going to have to tally one up for Venom right away. Mm-hmm. So that puts Venom in the lead. Okay, so yeah, Wednesday, if everything goes to plan, Wednesday we'll be recording
Friday.
Or Friday. Sorry. Wednesday it'll be airing, though.
Yes.
So, there's that. Let's move on to some comments.
And today we have no peanut gallery here.
That's right. We have no one here to interrupt us besides the cats.
Besides
I'm sure that they will do so. They already have, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move on to some interesting things that I heard on a podcast. I think I've mentioned before that Mark Bernardin is one of the writers on this show. Or was, I should say. Mm-hmm. And he does a podcast with Kevin Smith. Kevin was away doing stuff, so he just did. Mark just did an Instagram live thing where he answered a bunch of questions. Naturally, people asked about Castle Rock,
right?
So I have a bunch of interesting little tidbits that are non-spoilers that I wanted to share with people.
Perfect.
And I'll run down these really quickly so we can get to the episode. They spent 4 months writing the show. So
is that long or short?
I don't really know. I mean, there's like 10 people working on it, and they're all kind of bringing together their efforts to make this happen. So I don't know if that's a long time or not, but 4 months seems like a long time to write one thing. Mm-hmm. But it turned out good so far, so I like that.
So far, so good, yeah.
They start okay, so when they're starting to write, they break it up into each person gets an episode. And then they break it down into scenes. So the group, they'll bring their first draft of the episode to the group writers, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody will give notes, and then once the notes and everything's written down, they give it to the network, and then it's completely out of their hands. So.
And then they pray, hold their fingers.
Yeah, exactly. They hope that all the stuff that they wrote stays in, but they're never sure until it actually airs, which is crazy. Mark wrote episode 6, so we'll be seeing that fairly soon. I forgot what he said the title is, but I'm sure it's up by now somewhere. He said it's really interesting to see the changes they made, though, up till now. As of the recording that he put online, the Instagram live thing, they were up to episode 3 or 4. So, let's see here. They decided they wanted to tell a story in the key of Stephen King and not just try to blatantly rip off something that he had already wrote. So that's good.
Filter is
okay.
The name of episode 6.
Don't know what that means. It's very vague.
That is very vague.
They said by doing this they wanted to have a payoff that is like King, but without being his story. Mm-hmm. So
no, I'm enjoying what they're doing so far
for sure. He said, let's see here. This is a quote from him: "Don't be flowery with your writing in a show. Get to the point." And I think that does definitely relate to how they wrote Castle Rock because they're and. People can see by how we're doing this podcast, we go over everything because everything seems like there's a point to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, besides, I don't know. There's a couple of scenes where it's like, maybe they shouldn't have left it in. I don't know. Like the kid thing, I feel like that was just to maybe shoehorn
Which kid thing?
Like where they're all in that room doing the court deal. Mm-hmm. Like Lord of the Flies.
Oh, yeah.
Or like Children of the Corn. It sort of seemed to me, and then that just might be my feeling on it, but it seemed like to me like that was just a shoehorn in a feeling of a King story and not even
well, also, I feel like
anything.
That was... I could see it that way, but I also kind of see it as this is just another way we can show you how kind of fucked up this town is. You know, like the kids are just left to their own devices.
Yeah, and we hadn't really seen much of any kids before this either, besides those druggy hipsters.
Right.
Is there... What's going on over there?
Eating plastic. I just fixed that. All right, so Venom gets another one.
Jeez. Okay. He said each writer did research and they like each took some kind of Stephen King thing or multiple. So, they would each take a book, read that, come back with things that they thought were important to how King tells stories.
Right.
Characters that could be included or not, And he said, this is the most interesting thing that he said, is that when he was there while they were filming his episode, because they like to have whatever writer was there just in case they can contribute a little bit.
Yeah, get advice.
He said he felt bad that he wrote down shooting in the woods at night because when they filmed it, it was the middle of winter in Massachusetts, and
Oops.
everyone was pretty miserable. But that leads me to believe we're going to get more stuff with Henry's dad in that episode because they're outside at night in the woods, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens with that. But let's move on to the actual episode, shall we?
Yes.
Is there anything you want to mention up top before we get started, or no?
Well, I wanted to say that I was wrong in the last one that we did.
Okay.
Because I was dead sure that Henry was wearing that red jacket and he wasn't. So
okay.
My bad.
That's okay. I actually want to mention, before I forget, that Tim said Sarah binged all of our podcast episodes so far, and she said that she wants us to dig more into what the Easter eggs mean because she's not as familiar with those characters or whatever they're referencing. I told Tim, like, we definitely try to be as thorough as possible, but I also...
There's so much.
I know. I kind of lack in some of the knowledge of some of these characters. I'm almost finished with The Dark Half, which is one of the Pangborn books.
Right.
So I am digging into certain stuff, but with almost 60 books under his belt, it's sort of hard to do. They're
picking like pieces of characters.
Sure.
Like they're grabbing a last name, and it's like, all right, well, Torrance, we know the last name, but does that really mean anything, or are they just using that because it could be a distant relative?
Torrance family, of course, is from The Shining, and
right.
We try to be, like I said, we try to be as thorough as possible.
And there's another name in this episode that they throw in.
Yes.
And that comes up in multiple different things. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, are they related to those people?
And how important is it, or how not important is it?
So I agree. Like, I would love to deep dive into those more, but it's just, there's so much. You have no idea what any of it really means.
So...
we're
trying.
Yeah, we're trying. But thank you, Sarah, for that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it excites me that people are like not just listening to them week to week, but when they get time, go through all of them at once. That's awesome. I totally dig that. So thank you guys for listening. Let's get to the episode. This is episode 4, The Box. We did not watch this one together.
No, but I watched it twice.
I did too.
I'm digging watching it twice.
For sure. Like, I like having one where I can watch with taking notes and then one where I don't. So hopefully between now and tomorrow I get to watch episode 5 twice, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, so we open with Winter Night Sky. Mm-hmm. And let's establish this. Is it Reverend Deaver or Pastor Deaver? I think it's Pastor.
I think it's Pastor.
Okay. So from now on, we'll try to say pastor instead of reverend because I have been saying reverend.
Also?
Yeah.
Side note, how do you pronounce Officer Z's name?
Because
neither one of us have it right.
No, it was...
It's Zalewski.
Zalewski. Yes.
All right, so we've been calling him Zelensky.
And Zaleski.
I called him Oz at one point because I shorthanded my notes and I just write OZ. Yeah. And so I think last pod I kept hearing myself call him Oz and I was like, that's not right.
I ended up just writing Z at a certain point just because I didn't want to write it out.
I wrote out Officer Z every time, so I made sure I would not call him Oz again. But I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, Officer Zalewski.
For the record, it's Zalewski.
Yes.
Which is weird. I think it's Portuguese or something.
I don't know. It's a tongue twister.
We'll go with that. Okay, so Pastor Deaver is yelling for Henry.
He's saying, Henry, where'd you go?
And the Henry's in bed stirring. The adult Henry, right?
Yeah, so obviously he's having a nightmare.
Right. We see some images that are sort of disjointed from inside a cage looking out.
And there's dirt everywhere.
Mm-hmm. We see legs outstretching or a body appearing from the body's view, from the person's view, whoever's in the cage. So I was sort of confused by that. We see the person playing with the toy car, so we assume they might be a young person, maybe?
Yeah.
You can't see who comes down the stairs, but you see them with a flashlight coming down, and the rest of the room is pretty dark. And then Henry awakens feeling some sort of presence in the room with him. He looks, and then there is no one.
Well, he looks, there is someone, but he turns on the light. And...
Well, yeah, you sort of see some kind of motion happen really quickly, and you don't know what is actually going on.
He did the wrong thing. You just go back under the covers.
Yeah. Pull out your cell phone, turn on the flashlight.
You're safe under covers.
Rock your body in a very scared way.
Yes.
Okay, so then we get some nice Tom Waits as the music in the background.
I was digging the music in this
very
episode.
Creepy. Yeah, for sure, all the way through. Mm-hmm. But there's a very creepy Tom Waits song, which his voice and just the way he sings and stuff is very creepy as it is, so it sort of fits. Zalewski arrives at Shawshank, and he doesn't feel good. And this is the first time of many times we get to see the coworker who wants to make him smile all the time.
Yeah, well, first off, so
Super
we get to see him travel through the prison to get to the surveillance room, which is him going through a whole bunch of different locked hallways. Mm-hmm. And just it clinking behind him. And yeah, that annoying bitch who just decided to keep telling him to smile.
Like, I knew she was going to keep coming back a whole bunch,
man.
too.
Like, nobody likes to be told that.
Yeah, I have actually been told that in real life before.
The gas station by my work, there was one guy that would be in there every single morning. And every single morning he told me to smile. Until finally I said, do you ask that of guys? And he goes, no. And I go, well, then why the fuck are you saying it to me?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know me. You know me because I come in here.
I'm proud of you for saying that.
7:30 in the morning. Why would I be smiling?
Right. I'm barely out of bed at this point.
Yeah,
you know, you're seeing me maybe at my worst.
Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, somebody said that to me at work one time, and I was like,
it just makes you want to punch them, right?
It does. I felt like Sideshow Bob on The Simpsons for a second. It's like, okay, so he sits down, gets ready for work. I think that's...
And he smiles really creepy.
Oh, yeah.
That was the creepiest fucking smile.
There's another one like that, too, later, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But then we go to the creep, Deputy Warden, coming into the kid's cell, and he's threatening him.
Oh, yeah. He's acting like he's such a fucking badass.
Exactly, yeah. And he's, telling him how, there's been people like him before who wouldn't, play ball.
Yeah, he's like, you should have taken the deal.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was with them when they took down Saddam, and there was a guy who was mute, in air quotes, and fed him his teeth and got to the last ones, and all of a sudden he had a name.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what are you trying to say?
Right. So then the kid starts quoting Revelations.
Yes.
And
stands up and gets in his face.
Yeah, the one that I wrote down, he says he has a name written on him which no one knows except for himself. And, kind of looking into the background of this a little bit, it kind of means without divine revelation, God's name cannot be known, by a person who isn't of divinity.
So, okay. Do you want to deep dive into theories right now? Like, can I say something about this?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
So I looked into, because I went through, like I told you, confirmation, but I don't know the Bible. So I was reading into what was said before and after what he said in the show, because I wanted to hear the full thing of Revelation. So it's Revelations 19:11 through 16 is where he's pulling this from.
Yeah.
And it's talking about Jesus coming. And Nick had this theory about the kid and spouting off these Bible words.
Okay.
So his thing is he thinks that the whole time the kid was in the box, the old Warden Lacey, because he is very religious, only read him the Bible.
Oh.
And just pounded that into him because he saw him as the devil. So what do you do to the devil? You try to exorcise him. Mm-hmm. So Nick was like, have you ever noticed that whenever he talks, it's very choppy and childlike? But as soon as he started quoting the Bible, like, he was very forceful and he knew what he was saying. And he's like, I think it's because it was pounded into him. And as soon as the deputy warden or whoever said name, it clicked in his head, like, that particular thing.
Yeah, what can I quote that will scare this guy, knowing the things that I know from from this world, which is only Bible stuff.
Right.
So that
I felt, I was like, that
theory floats for me. I like that.
Yeah, I really liked it. He also said some other things, and then we got into like a discussion because I didn't agree with that.
Yeah.
Whatever the other part that he said, but I was like, no, that Bible thing, like I could see it because when we saw in Lacey's office, he just had all that Bible stuff everywhere.
Right. He was a little obsessed with.
Right. So maybe that's why, because
Yeah.
he was continually going down to that cage.
Yeah, and I think, anybody that has threatened this kid so far, he has responded in kind. And we don't know for sure, but he murdered a guy with cancer. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I also loved how he just got up and the kid got up and just started walking towards the deputy warden until he walked him out of his cell and then just closed the cell and went right back in. I was like, look at you.
Yeah.
Showing that pussy what's up. Thought he was so big.
I usually wrote down by this statement, like, is the kid claiming to be a god or God himself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By saying this, this insane Revelations quote to him, it's a very threatening sounding quote to him.
Yeah, but it's about Jesus coming and riding in with the angels and the saints and, covered in either the blood of him on the cross or of the people he's killed. People were divided on that. But yeah,
it's very interesting to think about what these quotes mean.
Yeah,
as
I always feel like
in the situation he's in.
I always feel like everything has a double meaning.
Totally.
So I'm,
especially with him.
Yeah.
Any dialogue he has, you immediately like, what does this mean?
Yeah, and I really liked this scene because I loved his eyes. They were just so intense.
It's crazy. And the deputy warden runs away.
He about shits his pants. Yeah.
So then we move to Pangborn and Henry. He's telling Pangborn, they're in a car or truck or something.
The same truck that he rescued in it.
Right.
Him in, right?
Yeah. Henry's telling Pangborn that the hearing is scheduled. He's asking who the judge is, and he doesn't know. They go to the landfill to find Pastor Deaver's burial site.
Mm-hmm. Is it a landfill?
I think that's what they said, but it's a weird, it's like on the outskirts of town, pretty much.
It's a wooded area.
Yeah, they established that way earlier on one of the first episodes. So, but so Henry looks at Pangborn weird when Alan is the one who has to notarize the paperwork.
Because he's the one who signed to have him put there.
Right. And Henry says he's leaving after the hearing. He's taking Mom, and that really pisses Pangborn off.
Oh, yeah. So the first time I watched it, I didn't really see it that way, as Pangborn, of what follows after this. And then watching it again, I was like, oh, he's a shady motherfucker.
Yeah. So there's we find out that Henry questions why Pangborn was out in the woods in 91, and then he's talking about them potentially having an affair.
Yeah, he thinks they've been together for 30 plus years.
Right.
Because why else would this random stranger, even though he is a police officer, why would he be out there still?
Yeah, so do you think he's spot on with that or no?
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah,
because then he immediately says that he'll marry his mom to make it legal. I feel like he genuinely cares for her.
Yeah, see, I think it's more of a protector relationship. I think you haven't really seen them be intimate at all. No. And that obviously, with Henry around, they're not going to be because it's sort of impolite to be all over each other or whatever. If that is a thing that is real, you know what I mean, between them.
Right.
But I think it's more of a protector relationship where he's watching over her. They are sweet to one another, but I don't necessarily think that they have been having an affair.
It's just the guilt. Maybe they were having an affair before.
And now it's turned into something else.
And then, the pastor dies and now it's, now I feel like I owe it to her.
Yeah, and that would explain why he feels like he needs to marry her to smooth the situation out. You know what I mean? And that, all of this could just be the entire source of Henry's distrust of Alan and Alan's distrust of Henry,
Right.
They definitely have a strange relationship, like I said in an earlier episode, or maybe last episode, he's like Henry's tough love dad.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, Alan gets pissed.
Right.
When he says this, and he calls him ungrateful. And
he's like, "What, motherfucker?"
Yeah.
No, but I really like the scene between them. Yeah. I feel like their characters are awesome together on screen.
Oh, so. Yeah. It's just, I mean, you can feel the hate.
Sure, for sure. So then we move inside Henry's home. We see a Twilight Zone episode on screen. I don't know if you picked that up or not.
I did not, no.
So I didn't on first watch either, but Amanda, a listener and a watcher of the show, told me that she looked up the episode because she remembered it. She's a Twilight Zone fan, as am I. And it's an episode called The Howling Man, which this man is tricked by the devil into letting him out of jail. Like the man lets...
Fuck.
Yeah. So it's like exactly the same.
What an Easter egg that is.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
It's like perfect.
That is perfect.
So thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, that was a good find. For sure.
I mean... front runner for the award for this week, I gotta say. Just because, like, I love the Twilight Zone, and even I missed that. But she's got sharp eyes, that one.
Man, and I was pausing like a motherfucker, rewinding the second
This is
time
when
around.
he walks in the door.
And she's...
Pangborn walks in the door, and it, like, pans through the living room
before
into the kitchen.
Before it cuts to Ruth?
Yeah,
okay.
Right. So, moving on from there, Alan and Henry's mom are talking. You sort of see a peek into their relationship. She is... From this conversation, she's like stronger than we previously gave her credit for.
Yeah, but he kind of lies to her and tricks her with her dementia or whatever, because they don't know, or she doesn't know what they really did. He says they went to Augusta and went fishing or whatever. But
she does know he was with Henry because
and he's like, "Don't you remember?" Like, and she was like, "Oh yeah,"
and
even though
then he like hints at her going to Texas, and she's like, "Oh no, I would much rather be here."
He uses reverse psychology on her,
right?
And it's so devious. And that's what I was saying. The first time I watched it, I was thinking, "Oh, he actually is sweet. He's trying to bring them two together."
Exactly.
And then the second time watching, I'm like, "No, he wasn't.
No,
he was being a shady motherfucker."
Right. And I think he may have even just been testing the waters a little bit to see like how she felt about it.
Well, I think he was planting it in her head, so that way she could be the one to say, "I ain't doing that."
Sure, yeah. She references female Viking warriors as well, so I thought that was awesome. Then we move to the bar. Molly and Henry are sitting down talking, discussing the whole case that's going on. Kidnapping kind of reminded him of his own experiences. And we see flashing visions again because they're talking about this.
Of playing with the car.
Yeah. And there's not really much there in that scene. It's sort of a transitional thing, I think, like a reason for him to be at the bar, but maybe not.
I felt it was kind of weird because she was like, "Yeah, I daydream too. I see things." And she's like, "Pictures from the past." And I'm like, didn't you already tell him this? Why is he acting so astounded again? Like, why is not he remembering every single time you tell him that you can do these things?
Henry makes like a something in the water joke. Like there must be something in the water that's making all this,
Yeah, and she says she feels guilty for daydreaming, and he says, "What do you feel guilty for?" And it almost seems like she's going to tell him.
Right.
She's like, "I have something I need to tell you."
She gets interrupted by Zalewski. We're going to do that.
Let's just call him Zelensky. You want to.
I kind of want to call him Z, just so I don't have to say it anymore.
Well,
So, yeah, from this conversation, I kind of got, though, that Henry doesn't quite accept the supernatural aspect of everything that's going down.
No, apparently you need to tell him 17 times before this sinks into his head.
Like, she's been telling him this for two episodes.
She told him as a child she, could feel him masturbating, and then...
We're bringing that back up.
Sorry, but what I'm saying is like, he's been told so many times.
Yeah.
And every time he's like, "Oh."
Yeah, but I guess...
So weird.
I don't know. I think, like... I don't know. That he forgot about that conversation they had however many years ago it was at this point. It's
okay,
like
but he forgot the conversation from 2 days ago?
Yeah, I know. That's a little weird. They also didn't bring back up the whole masturbating thing, though.
No.
So.
Or the fact that, she was just in jail. That she was on TV. Like.
Yeah. It's like, How else does she know, dude? Just accept it.
Yeah.
This town is weird. Things are happening. Get over yourself. So, yeah, like I said, Z interrupts them.
He's on edge.
He seems really in distress, right?
Mm-hmm.
He shows him a sketch he made of the cage that was down in the cellar.
Yeah, because the cage is gone.
Right. He says he feels trapped, which you already knew. Henry coaches him to keep his cool during the hearing that's about to come up. And Z says everyone in town looks the other way, and it's not even that, it's not even that anything supernatural is happening. It's just that all the bad is been able to
I have the
build up over time because everyone just turns the cheek whenever things are going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He says it has some kind of luck, and he says it's not luck. It's because bad people know they're safe.
Yeah. So maybe the town isn't evil necessarily. It's just it attracts bad people because they're able to get away with shit.
Yeah, and he says, how many times can one town look the other way?
Right. So that's kind of where we leave that scene
I guess
off.
the town could look the other way if everybody forgets what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, look what happened in Derry. All those adults forgot what was going on.
Yeah, it seems like in every Stephen King town,
the kids get it.
Yeah, the kids.
the adults are all aloof. They don't.
And then the kids grow up and they're all messed up in the head.
Yeah.
So then we go back to Shawshank. We're seeing prisoners being beaten as Z is walking in.
Yeah.
Then we have a scene between Zaleski and the kid talking to him through the bars of his cell. He tells him he has his back and gives him a fist bump.
Which was the most awkward fist bump in the history of fist bumps.
It was, because the kid clearly has no idea what he's doing.
Kid didn't get it, no. And he had a weird look, the kid did. And I'm going one or two ways with this. Because he told the Nazi guy not to touch him. So if we say, well, by touch, like, he can give you, like, cancer, then, did something happen in that touch or that fist bump that they had? Or because the kid just had they focused on him and it looked like he had a weird look. So either like he was passing some bad mojo onto Officer Z, or he was seeing something.
Yeah, but exactly. Like, he's either. But see, the thing is that Z's been one of the only people that's been good to him this whole time.
So I'm like, why would
he...
you? But then also, what if it's not something he can control?
Sure, yeah.
Like he told the guy, "Don't touch me,"
but he doesn't want to leave him hanging.
Yeah.
so he got a fist bump.
I know.
Like,
I'm so confused.
Have you ever been in that situation where you're trying to fist bump somebody or give them a high five, and then they like notice you and then choose to not? Mm-hmm. Maybe he just didn't want to make him feel bad,
Yes, he's being polite.
I don't. That's just me being silly, of course.
But there was a weird look.
There's some ominous stuff going on here, and as an audience, we know or we think something has already gone on with the kid before, with the Nazi and the cancer. So we're like, okay, well, whatever
shit,
the
they
fist
touched.
bump, whatever's going on there cannot be good for Z.
No.
We go to the security office with him, and Officer Smiley, again, tells him
to smile.
an even creepier smile back from Z.
And every time she says it in a new, funny way. Like, I'm so clever.
I hate her.
I hate her, too.
I hate her so much.
Me, too. I kept writing her down as bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, this bitch told him to smile again. How dare she?
So, and yeah, speaking as a person with resting bitch face.
Yeah, me too.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah, it's fine.
We can get through our days together in these strange situations without you having to bring up that my face looks like I want to kill someone. Mm-hmm. Maybe I just look like this.
Maybe I am about ready to kill someone, and because you just said I should smile, it's now you.
You just jumped to the top of the list.
Yeah. Congratulations.
So then the same hand that he fist bumped with uses a marker to draw creepy ass smiley faces
super creepy
on random cameras.
Yeah, all the monitors.
TV screens, right.
Yeah.
So that's where we leave that scene off, and then we move to the clerk's office. Henry is searching for old news
on the microfilm reader.
Yeah, which I'm sure you were enjoying as a library
I was
employee.
like,
Classic. Do they still have those, by the way?
We sure do.
Yeah,
we have 3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. They're really cool too because they're connected to computers. So you on the computer hit scan.
Yeah, they definitely
scans
didn't
it on
used to
the
be.
screen and then puts it on the computer.
They definitely didn't used to be. You used to have to go get the librarian, have her load it in. It was the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he's looking at old news and he reads his own story, and he uncovers that this person named Desjardins was an old suspect that no one has ever brought up.
Also, I wanted to say, because I was reading the article, I paused it when they said that there was a suspect that they were looking into. The suspects before him was a bookstore owner and a Christmas tree grower.
Really?
Were the initial suspects that they listed in that story.
I don't know.
Their names were D. Knuth and Ian Caldwell.
Wow, you really dug into that one.
Yeah, I paused. I was like, what does this story say?
Yeah.
I always like to pause whenever they do newspapers because I like to see how in-depth their people are as far as like details. Because sometimes you get like the newspaper and it's just like jumbled letters, to look like a paragraph. But they actually wrote stuff.
I did, and maybe while one of us can look up if there's any deep dive Easter eggs while we're going through, and just to like fill in any blanks because I don't know about those Easter eggs at all.
You've never heard of the massacre with the Christmas tree grower? Like he's
no, no, I have. But like I said, I haven't read everything.
No, right. So
It's
he
super
could
hard.
be in something.
Yeah, and as far as the dark half goes, no. That is a Pangborn and Castle Rock centric
I just
book,
felt like they were really random jobs to have. I mean, bookstore keeper, whatever, but the Christmas tree grower of the town.
The guy who owns a farm on which all the Christmas trees are grown. But definitely Desjardins is a family name that comes from the story of the body.
It also is in Carrie.
Oh, okay.
It's the gym teacher.
Gotcha.
But it's just Desjardins. So in Castle Rock they added an S to the last name.
Yeah. So,
but
I don't know.
she was the gym teacher, so I didn't know because
well,
she in the books she lives. So I don't know if these are, relatives of hers, offspring. I'm not really sure because I was trying to internet that and I wasn't finding any correlations between
maybe
anybody.
not then. But yeah, for listeners,
for sure the body.
For listeners, the body is what they based Stand By Me on, which is a fantastic movie. If you're gonna watch a Stephen King movie that you would be fooled that it is even a Stephen King movie, Stand By Me is amazing. And also Carrie, one of his first major novel.
It was his,
and actually the first adapted movie as well. It's a both of them fantastic. Must see and read. So
the movie's different.
The movie is a little different, right?
Yeah,
because it's but the book is actually one of the shorter ones too, so you could finish that in a couple of days if you really
I believe
wanted to.
in the movie it's all just like in the gym pretty much, and then they show her going after John Travolta's character with the car,
right?
But in the book, I think she burns like the whole motherfucking town down almost.
Yeah, and then
like they just give up on that town. They're like, well, that there.
Yeah, spoilers for the end of Carrie. Though.
Oh my
I don't
God!
know how long it's been since you've seen it. You don't know. Well, I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Pretty recently.
Doesn't her mom's hand reach back up or something like that at the end? Is that a thing?
It was Carrie's hand, I think.
Because
it was the girl.
It's been a really long time.
Yeah,
since
and she went, but it was a dream.
Oh, okay.
It was like a dream.
So yeah, we're really up on her knowledge apparently.
But yeah, so the Desjardins, they're the bad guys in the body.
Okay, so. Then we go to Henry at home with his mom. He asks her about Desjardins, and she says that they were rumored to be Nazis who lived out in the forest.
And she's gutting some fish at this point.
Yep. He says that Vince or she says that Vince is the one that they were looking at, right? And she pretty quickly tries to change the subject. And he says, like, where did you think I was when I was missing? And she gets pissed off and tells him, like, well, now that you want to just ship me off to Texas, you know.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you want to talk? We'll talk.
Yeah, exactly. So she's a little more there than and strong as a person than we gave her credit for. You know, this episode has sort of established that she does kind of know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Sometimes.
When she wants to, I guess. So then we move to Molly selling old Warden Lacey's house. Mm-hmm. She's hiding weird stuff.
She puts the urn in the fridge.
Yeah, excuse me. And the potential buyers find the urn.
I know. What's Snoop's? My God.
And yeah, why is he looking in the freezer?
I know, right?
She tries to explain and put like a happy spin on the town.
She's like, a serial strangler died in my house, and I'm fine.
You can tell this is something she's done before. You know, she's and one of the buyers is kind of mesmerized by the art on the wall, which is of the lake, which is
his artwork that he did.
Yeah, so I feel like there's some symbolism there with the lake being the thing that he gets so sucked into. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know exactly what it would mean, but I think that it is significant that it is the lake that is the painting that he's so mesmerized by, right? Let's see here. Then we move to Henry.
Which, the serial strangler, that was another Easter egg that...
Yeah, that's in Dead Zone.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything else they talk about in that scene.
I don't think so. I just loved how flippant she was about how she lived in a house where a serial strangler was.
So, yes. Okay, so now we move to Henry at the Desjardins house.
Which is a beautiful cottage in the woods. I mean, it's just top notch. There's
no one there. He just walks right in. There is boots sitting there, so somebody does live there still. You assume, because there's two pairs of boots there. Like, people don't just have boots.
Yeah, okay, but you see boots, and then you see a grand piano that's just like through the ceiling.
Yeah,
so
the
does
floor
somebody
rotted.
really live there?
Yeah, exactly. But but he does kind of look in the kitchen, and it does seem like.
That's where the piano is.
Well, he walks through, like, there's a middle room where the piano takes up the entire room.
The piano's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, the sink was right behind it.
Yeah. Which
is a great place for a piano, by the way.
I mean, exactly.
You just never know when you're going to be doing dishes, turn around, want to play a little ditty. Also, look up into the second floor of your house.
Right. There's a hole in the floor. There's a skylight.
Yeah. A skylight to the top floor, not to the outside.
So he thinks that there might be somebody around. He's not really sure. He's being very cautious, though. Even though he is walking in somebody's house, he is kind of being cautious about it and being quiet. He looks in the backyard and sees a large wooden box.
What's in the box?
There's a small window in the front of it, which is a cool shot from inside the box looking out as he's out there.
And you know what was in the box? His head, because that's what it looked like.
Yeah. So it's padlocked. There's a door in the box, and it's padlocked. So he breaks it open, and he finds a dirty cereal bowl. So that's weird.
Mm-hmm. How long would cereal last in a bowl of nastiness? Like, I mean, it looked like...
I don't know. Well, it might have not been cereal.
Obviously, they didn't have ants. Yeah. That would not have worked here.
So I don't really think it's the same box from the visions earlier in the episode.
No, there's not enough dirt, and there's a basement.
And it's not like a cage front to it.
And you see somebody walking downstairs from the box that he was in.
Yeah, so. But there's obvious themes going through this of boxes, right? Mm-hmm. I actually wrote this down.
Oh, okay.
There's the Reverend's casket is a box.
It is a box.
There's a box in the backyard, of course. The security room is a small room like a box. And the piano is a box. So there's boxes everywhere in this episode.
and Molly has a box.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
full of Henry's things. What were you thinking I was going to say?
I wasn't sure where you were going with that, but you were cracking up at your own joke, which is always great.
I can't help it. I'm hilarious.
Oh,
all
boy.
up in here.
Episode title: Which Molly's box is Debbie talking about? Anyway, let's move forward. A vehicle arrives. It's an old man. He turns out to be a barber who thinks he's there to get his hair cut.
He's like, come on in.
Yeah.
He's just doing some remodeling on the inside. Yeah, it looks great.
He ends up telling Henry that he inherited the house from his brother. His name is Joseph. And he says that Vince was convicted of insurance fraud.
Yeah.
And Henry asks about Henry's case. And Joseph seems to recognize him and says that he does. And Joseph has a box of his police files under his bed.
Because why not?
Which is...
Okay, but first off, I mean, if you see the house, it's a hoarder's paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is shit all up in that upstairs. So, I mean, the fact that he has this, I mean, isn't really that surprising.
Yeah, and then he explains that he pulled him out of the dump.
Yeah.
Which
Pat Kelly's basement, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Pat Kelly.
Yeah, right. Deep reference for people that are friends with our circle group.
Right.
Let's see here.
Then he asked about the wooden crate, if he had a dog, and that's when we find out that he never lived there.
Right. Vince didn't live at the house.
Joseph has always lived there.
Right. And Joseph was the one who was accused. Is it Joseph or Joseph?
I don't know. I wrote Joseph.
Either way. That's how you spell it.
Right.
So,
we could call him Osiv.
all right. We'll go with that. Let's just get everyone's names wrong.
Yes, please.
Really make people angry. So let's see. So it turns out he was the one accused by police. He being Joseph.
And he was really mad that they took his brother's toes and forefinger.
Yeah. And he also says something very interesting. He's like, I never touched you.
Yeah,
talking to Henry.
He's like, I never touched you. All up in his face.
And again, there's like this touching theme emerges again. Like the kid touching Z. Now he's saying he didn't touch him. You know, like there's all this weird thing that kind of runs through. And I don't think that he means that he did. That means that he didn't keep him in the box necessarily. No. You know what I mean? Like he may have not touched him weirdly, but
I don't think he has anything to do with anything. I think I don't know.
You think he's a red herring?
Yeah. But I loved why he took the box, and it was only because he wanted to see what they said about him.
Yeah, and the interaction is just weird because he's talking about bones and shit.
But we learn how to do the fraud thing that his brother did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Just cut off some fingers.
Sure. Everyone loves doing that.
Nope,
okay, so then we see Pastor Deaver's casket in shrink wrap being pulled out of the hole. Mm-hmm. I loved the background music under this part. Another great music moment in this episode. Mm-hmm. Sort of half related, like the way that Twin Peaks would also show moments like this. I don't know if you ever watched that show or not, but it's another super creepy, like supernatural show.
Yeah.
Which it kind of relates because, and I know this is a very far stretch, but the character that the whole series is based around is wrapped in plastic. And while they're doing this cool piano melody like they did on Twin Peaks all the time, the casket is wrapped in plastic. So I just made that connection in my own head.
Of course, yeah.
Henry's at home. And his mom says, take off your shoes.
Yeah, because your dad doesn't like the click
Sure,
clacks.
yeah, and because Dad's going to care. He's been long dead.
Yeah, so obviously she's not with it again.
Right.
And what was hung up everywhere in the kitchen?
I'm not sure. I didn't notice that.
Did you see that? She was like drying leaves or something.
Yeah,
but it was a whole bunch of them.
I'll go back and check that out.
Yeah, it's when Henry sees Alan in the backyard.
Well, yeah, so we see Pangborn fixing the fence. Mm-hmm. Henry accuses Alan of not doing his job back in the day. And Alan tells
pisses him off.
Yeah.
Alan off, yeah.
And Alan tells Henry that Henry's dad told Alan that Henry did it.
Yeah, he's like, I know Henry.
Henry hurt his dad. So...
Well, he didn't say that. All he said was Henry did it.
Yeah.
But so we don't know what that means.
I think that he was referring
Alan
to...
assumes pushes him off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're supposed to assume he's talking about. But I don't... Like you said, he's kind of being vague.
Mm-hmm. He's vague booking it.
Alan played it out... Yeah, exactly. Alan played out like he was still investigating, but then he stopped. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, he wanted to make sure the DA thought he was doing his job.
Yeah, stayed off his back about it.
Because he didn't want to uncover, the truth that Henry really did do it.
Yeah.
So he was protecting him, is what he was saying.
Yeah, and Henry doesn't believe any of this.
No. And then Alan
I called him, before you say where
Okay.
he is, I called him Carpenter Pangborn in this part because he's just like, all he cares about is fixing that damn
I know,
fence.
he's like, I'm just out here trying to keep this fucking fence from falling down.
And what's awesome about this is like, Pangborn, by him being a carpenter, he's also Christ-like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the kid who's claiming to be God, maybe, or some kind of
Satan.
Some kind of supernatural, otherworldly being or whatever. And you have Pangborn fixing a fence. He's a carpenter. He's like Jesus. So there you go. I'm making connections that are very,
he
very
did bring
loose.
fish to Ruth.
Oh, that's right. He did.
So,
Pangborn is Christ.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, well, I'm writing that down. That is blasphemous, and it is also our episode title. Moving forward.
This is all fact, by the way.
I mean, look, we're making connections.
Yeah.
I feel like that doggo is going to show up any day now.
I know, we haven't seen Doggo.
Couple episodes without doggo. Not going to lie. I miss him. I miss him a lot. Molly hears all of this going on.
She's eavesdropping, yeah.
Henry goes to her. And
What? So she hears all this at her house.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
From afar. Henry goes to her house.
And says, maybe I did it.
He doubts his own memory while he's talking to her, right? And she says it's not his fault. And Molly, while we're watching this, we're thinking, well, you fucking know that you killed him. So, well, not necessarily. Because she has the visions of her doing it. Did she actually do it? Is she being tricked by some kind of... You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, I just had a thought.
Okay, go. Spit it out before you forget.
Oh my God. What if her going into the house wasn't really her going into the house?
That's what I'm saying.
But it was the kid going into the house and pulling the plug on the respirator, and she just felt like it was her.
That's what I'm saying. She could...
Maybe she doesn't know that she didn't do it.
Everything is sort of up in the air with these visions and stuff. We don't really know anything for fact. That's the problem with why we're having to cover everything that happens on this show.
Yeah.
Is like, we don't know for sure that she did that.
Right. Well, and
we
then...
see it happen, but does that mean it actually happened that way? No.
And remember, somebody commented on something that we missed. And it's like, well, I mean, fuck, we take 6 pages of notes. We're still missing shit.
We're trying.
Yeah.
And Tim, and I think it was... Was
it Tim?
I don't remember who it was that said that. Damn it anyway. But like I said with Tim and Sarah, they want more information, or she would like more information on the...
How long of a podcast do you want, Sarah? Because we can make this a 3-hour podcast.
This one, let's see how
deep
much
dive
longer
into it.
I have a whole nother page and a half to go.
Me too.
And we're creeping up on an hour, so...
Well, here you go.
We'll get into some overtime, I think, on this one. Okay, so... But for the listeners, we try to aim for an hour. It doesn't always happen. We've had a couple that went over so far. But anyway, it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, back to it. She says
Molly
it wasn't your
takes
fault.
him into the house, and he sleeps in the guest room.
Was it the guest room?
I think it was. I don't think she slept in that room with him.
Bow chicka wow wow.
Oh, yeah. Well, the way he goes in the house and we see it from afar, like we get kind of the feeling like maybe something's going on there. I hope they don't go down that route. I would rather them not be a thing, a romantic thing. I think that overcomplicates the story. I think they should stick to staying to the mystery of the box and the kid. and
The mystery of her box.
Oh, Henry's investigating.
He's got a deep dive.
Henry's got. Oh. Henry's searching for clues way down inside that box.
It's just rifling
Hopefully
through.
there's not a dirty cereal bowl in there.
Ew.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Okay.
We're getting into real Mike Daffron territory now. I don't know if you've ever heard him on any podcast, but on the Watchers shows, people can go back and revisit the Westworld and the Game of Thrones podcast.
I know. I need to listen to the Westworld one since I've caught
Mike
up
is
now.
usually the one that gets perverted. We'll get into that next week, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, Henry...
Well, yeah, so the next day we see that, he slept over.
Right. Henry is calling Z, and he's saying...
well, we don't know what he says, because then it cuts to Officer Z.
Right. He leaves a message or something.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Officer Z.
Who gets the voicemail.
And the voicemail is explaining that he's had a change of plans. There's what's actually cool about this is, like, there's sort of a storm brewing, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that day is when, like, it gets really way more cloudy and stuff, and, like, you get a very ominous feeling of what's about to happen, right?
Yes.
And he hangs up once Henry starts going further into what the plans
Everything
are
goes silent for a second.
Yeah.
Which was really cool, I thought.
Yeah, very ominous.
Yeah.
And
then we get some more cool music.
Right. And you see the casket arriving at the church, and still in plastic, I think.
Oh, yeah, because Ruth sees it.
And she's watching, and
she's walking down the street.
That's the moment from the trailer where it closes up shot in her face.
Mm-hmm.
And is she crying there? I think she might be crying there.
I don't think she cries. I think she just is, like, taken aback that she sees it.
Yeah. She knows it's his.
Yeah. Somehow she knows that it's his.
So Zen.
I told you his name.
Z listens to the message. Henry's leaving the town. Henry's pretty much just making excuses, and he's gonna.
He wants the kid to take the settlement.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And like I said, Z hangs up on it.
Silence.
Then we go to the security room.
Bitch tells him to smile.
Oh my God,
again.
I hated this lady again so much.
And this is when the music starts.
And also no smile from Henry this time.
No.
Which is also a foreboding kind of thing.
And the song is Roy Orbison crying.
Yeah, an amazing.
Great song.
Amazing score for this.
Great song. And he puts X's on the screens.
Right. And which is different from what he did before. So we're like, okay, well, whatever is going to happen now is not good.
No.
He then immediately pulls a gun from the office safe where they lock up these things in case there's a riot or something. They have them all locked up. On the monitors, which I loved how they played this out. They shot this. We see on the monitors, Z goes out with the gun. And he kills several guards.
Many guards.
All over, and the camera pans around to the different
he goes in the
monitors with X's on them.
Yeah, the guards that are, like, frantically trying to get through locked doors.
He's all over the prison.
Yeah, and then the great one is you see on the monitor where, like, 3 people are, like, running, and he just walks past them. And they don't even, because they don't know it's him. Mm-hmm. And he just walks past them, turns around, boom, get that guy, boom, boom, get the next 2.
And by this time, the alarm's going off.
Yeah, and then we see, well, we saw previously, because you see on the monitor before he starts killing people that Henry's there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see Henry
sit down in the office.
Yeah, and the whole time this is going on, the only thing you're hearing is the song crying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not hearing gunfire or anything like that. So... You don't know really what Henry's hearing, but you assume he's hearing the alarm, he's hearing gunfire, because he gets curious and walks into the warden's office. Mm-hmm. And
yes,
that other guard comes in and tells him to sit the fuck down.
That's right. He tells Henry to chill out and sit down,
yeah.
And then Z comes in, shoots him. That's the guard that he's been palling around with a little bit. And Z is not, but we should mention, he's not shooting any prisoners whatsoever. He's not just randomly shooting.
Only guards.
He's only targeting guards.
Yes.
who, throughout us seeing Z, like, we know that he's been witnessing all these guards, all of them do horrible shit.
Yeah.
Especially in this episode, we see them beating prisoners as he's walking in and stuff. So they're all bad.
Mm-hmm. And he's snapped.
And he comes in and he tells Henry, "I want to testify," and immediately is shot by SWAT.
And it looks like as soon as
there's a flash grenade, and then
and it looks like he almost wakes up from whatever trance he's been in. Because as soon as he shoots that last guard and he says, "I want to testify," it's like he wakes up in his face, like, "Oh shit."
Well, see, the thing is, with him saying, "I want to testify," that kind of means he doesn't necessarily know what he's just done. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because he couldn't testify if he just shot a bunch of people. So he's
not thinking straight.
You gotta think he doesn't know what he just did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I was so
sad. Or he's gone completely insane.
Or the kid just put that thought in his head.
Yeah.
And then he did it, and then as soon as he completed it, he was like, "I want to testify," because that's the last thing I remember is I want to tell you this, and then he immediately gets gunned down.
Yeah,
so sad.
And we just see Henry with like blood
all over him,
and we no longer have a go-between with the kid and Henry. It's where it's sort of and like we've said on a couple of episodes before this. Z's been like our guy.
He's a good guy, yeah.
Yeah, we side with him. We know he's right. We want to see him get out of this town.
And he's got a wife and a baby on the way.
Yeah, he's a virtuous person. He's in this town of insane, crazy people. He's our like knight. So now we don't get that, and I'm honestly not that surprised that he's dead because like good just doesn't survive in this town.
No, I felt bad though, and then I felt really bad because I was like just saying his name completely wrong.
Yeah,
I was like,
we've done you
poor
wrong.
Guy. Yeah. So rest in peace, Officer Z.
Yep. So now that was the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It
was a great episode.
It was a great episode. I'm excited to watch the next one, but
the next episode looks good.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but. I did write down a couple of thoughts or theories. Henry, I think possibly what could happen is that Henry does end up getting the kid out soon. But it only increases the violence in the town instead of it only makes shit
Nothing
worse.
good can come from this.
Well, they said like don't ever let him see the light of day. Mm-hmm. And now, well, he technically already has.
Yeah.
But him getting out is what they meant. You know what I mean? I also wrote down that Pangborn may stop Henry's progress in some way to get him to not let him out. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know how things are going to shake out. It's sort of up in the air at this point. It's weird. I honestly didn't expect Z to get killed, but, that's why I'm sort of like not really sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Henry.
It was a badass way to go out, though.
But Henry certainly is not leaving the town now.
No, not anymore. There's
like
no
his
way.
plan was like, okay, I'm headed out.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
this got awkward.
Right. So when Officer Z was going around killing everybody, did he kill the assistant deputy warden or whoever?
I don't think so.
Because you see, like on the monitors, there was a guy in like a suit that was going into one of the rooms, and he definitely like pops that guy a couple more times.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if it was him or not because they didn't really show close up, and then you don't see him afterwards.
I'm pretty sure it was just guards, but we may be corrected.
Because I can't imagine that guy dying without,
I don't think so.
Anything else.
I think he's going to be further involved in whatever is going to lead to him getting out.
We got to see.
Or not getting out. You know what I mean? The kid, I mean.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Let's do the winner. Before
you want to do sneak peek of 5?
We'll do that at the very end. So let's announce who wins the Church Creed Memorial Award for audience participation.
Such a mouthful.
It is.
That's what she
on
said.
Purpose. You're full of dirty jokes today. Was that a knee slapper you just did too?
I'm high on Surge.
I'm jacked up on coffee, by the way. This is my third and fourth cup of the day.
Nice.
So sweet. Winner for this week, since I almost missed a amazing Twilight Zone Easter egg, I feel like it has to go to Amanda Rusnick.
Yes. Congratulations.
We'll get some claps on Mike. Amanda, you will get a certificate. We'll take a picture of it tomorrow because we don't have it with us tonight.
The printer just fucked it up, right?
The printer ate it.
The printing company, because I mean, this is a legit, certificate. So we had to go through a printing company. And
technically, the printer itself also a box. So
the world is full of boxes.
It really is. There's a box sitting on the table in front of us right now.
Did you ever watch that show Weeds?
I dipped in a little bit here and there.
So the intro song was Little Boxes.
Oh. Is it referring to her little box?
No.
Oh.
It was a cute little song.
You're like, that was a terrible joke. I'm not even going to acknowledge that. So congratulations, Amanda. We managed to squeeze in a dirty box joke in the middle of your award ceremony. We will post a photo of it. I will hand deliver it to you when I see you next. Talking to you, Amanda, not you, Debbie, across the table from me. It will have your very own special, unique kitty sticker on it.
And your name.
I'll try to pick one that looks like her cat, Bobby.
Oh, okay. I found more stickers, so we have a bigger
Oh, my God. We have
selection.
so many stickers. We have an unbelievable amount of stickers. We'll take a picture of the stickers, too, and post that.
No idea where they came from, but...
I don't either. They just appeared.
Amazing. They
Sparkly
probably
cat
came from my
stickers
grandma.
just appear in your house.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So we got that out of the way. Cat count.
Venom is winning. He was the only one who made noises.
Yeah,
so
he added 2.
He's got 6.
He's got 6 at the end of this episode. We'll take a picture of that too before we leave. Mm-hmm. And the last thing we have to do is the Debbie's sneak peek of next episode. I have not seen the sneak peek trailer, but you have.
I have.
Go ahead and explain to me what you saw.
All right, so it's a lot of stuff again.
Okay.
The kid gets out.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Are you sure it's not just like a vision or something?
I'm pretty sure, because Henry says to him, "No one knows you're out. Let's keep it that way."
Oh, shit.
Shit is right. And then we cut to Ruth and Alan, and she says she feels something bad is happening. Then we cut to Molly saying something is wrong with that kid. And then we cut...
Talking about what kid?
The kid.
Oh, okay.
I assume.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well,
we don't know. She just says there's something wrong with that kid.
Maybe she's talking about the kids she was with earlier. The weird mask kids.
The animal children.
Yeah.
Then we see the scene that we saw in the trailer, which is Ruth standing on the edge of the bridge.
Okay.
And Henry screams, "Mom." And the last thing that we see is Alan asking the kid, "Are you the devil?"
Wow, so we get a scene between them. Mm-hmm. This next episode is gonna be
good.
awesome.
I know. I'm excited. I'm gonna need a whole new, brand new notebook.
And apparently, according to Facebook posts, even at the end of this episode, we're gonna be like, What? And we're gonna have to see more.
I know.
And we're gonna. And then we're gonna cover it on this show. Which you can easily subscribe to by going to watchersonthecouch.com/subscribe. Tim made a dedicated page.
Oh, look at him.
And it has links to everywhere that you would listen to the show. So, we'll see you, I guess, if everything goes to plan, we'll do another episode tomorrow. And that'll mean listeners will get 2 this week. And then we'll be actually on time with the show. So,
I know, because
you'll get...
screwed us over with those first 3.
Exactly. We've been playing catch up ever since.
Yeah.
You'll get an episode Wednesday. It will premiere. We'll record that for an episode, a podcast for that episode, and then it will go up the week of.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's crazy how that works.
We already would have been on schedule if my work were not total Nazis like the fucking Desjardins family were, apparently. Mm-hmm. And that's going to do it for this week. We'll see you Wednesday.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.